Let's welcome Who's That Meta Deck? Good day, Tamers. Welcome back to episode with me, AgitoSwiftly. And who's that meta deck? One Punch Chads. See what you're thinking here? Well, just calm down. You know, there's no like OTK, just a bunch of dudes with some flexy muscles throwing out some punches, and that's all it is. It's nothing too special. Kind of cool, but nothing too special. But what I'd like to ask all of you alphas out there is, if you aren't already, subscribe to this channel, comment, like. You can dislike, it's okay. But for you real alpha chads out there, you know this is the channel to get all your good content from. So, help me out. Let's get to 1,000 by the end of the year, somehow. And we can do this. So, hardly working. The babies. So, this isn't really a reboot deck. There is reboots in here, and it will help out its own stuff eventually at some point during time. But for me personally, I feel like Black has this really weird problem with bad babies. Or like babies that just don't do as much. Like any other colour has babies that just work synergistically with its own decks. Whereas Black has this really weird thing where the babies kind of just have effects that affect certain types of black cards, but not all black cards. So, Kaporimon is here for this reason. Well, Digimon has Reboot. On my turn, it gains 1000 DP. And I thought, you know what, we're going to try the Pagumon. That's on deletion, reveal the top card of your deck. Add to your hand if it's a black Digimon card, otherwise, place it at the bottom of your deck. This deck is, I want to say, probably going to be like 44, 42 cards of black Digimon. So there's a good chance that you will always pull this, but obviously there's always a chance you'll hit an option card, you'll hit a Tamer, and maybe you'll hit the big boys at the end. Keeping the Steelhouse running, we got ourselves a Junkmon, we got ourselves a Hagurimon, we got ourselves a Commandramon, we got ourselves a Toy Agmon. Toy Agmon is here essentially just to get reboot on things that aren't actually going to have reboot, like Genkumon. We're going to have the Commandramon here just as a cheap cost, 2 cost, just throw down when you can. Same with the Hagurimon, also still works. Cog thing here makes sense, right? Keeping the theme, never mind, ignore me. And then Junkmon, this cute little beaver buster thing, just has this nice on deletion effect. You gain the memory. Black normally gets deleted quite a lot because poor blacks get deleted quite a lot for some strange reason. I don't know why this is the type of colour where things just get destroyed for the sake of getting destroyed. Whereas purple, which is the type that likes to play from the grave and destroy things, has a weirder time doing it sometimes. Either way, Junkmon. I like Junkmon. I think his effect is pretty good, especially since how this archetype likes to do itself dirty, I guess. The Not So Wisemons. We've got ourselves a Tankmon here. We've got ourselves a Dark Trainmon. Again, these are just because they're 1 costs. Darkmon, yeah, he's a blocker. We're not really looking at blocking in this deck too much. It is just the cheap cost. And then we have the Black Galgamon. If you don't have access to Black Galgamon, but you do have access to the original Greymon from Black from set 2, I think. It also has jamming if you have reboot. So you could also run 2 of those. So you have 8 of the jammers, and then you could possibly run 2 Tankmons or 2 Dark Trainmons. But again, we do want to have the cheapest evolution cost as possible, although jamming is always good. Ultimate good stuff. We have ourselves the Volcanomon, which is your turn, while your opponent has a unsuspended Digimon in play. This Digimon gets security attack +1. And this is a pretty good free cost effect to have, as you don't necessarily have to have a additional effect to make it work, other than your opponent having a Digimon unsuspended on the field. We have a Werumonzamon, which is a very cheap to play, 2 cost to evolve. It's a rare. You can have it in a higher rarity of pre-release if you're so lucky. I have one, it's beautiful. But yes, Werumonzamon, fantastic card. I think it's one of the best cards from BT5. Then we have the Metal Greymon, which has reboot on itself, so it can have the jamming from earlier on. As well as, if this Digimon has reboot, it gains security attack +1. And then we go into a Fist of the Manly Chad. And that was going to be a Pile Falcomon. And this is rebooted, so it's pretty cool. So it suspends on your opponent's side, your opponent's unsuspended phase. Opponent's turn once per turn. When one of your other Digimon is deleted, trigger Digilevel 1. On one of your opponent's Digimon. So it's going to possibly make it so if your opponent decides to pierce you, they kill your Digimon, but they technically don't survive the fight, and you Digivolve the thing that pierced them, so they can't continue on their action, which I think is pretty cool. It's obviously nice in Black. I think Black has like a lot of issues currently, where it's just so outweighed by every other colour that it's just not doing enough. I know we had the Gen Con online event where the Black deck won, but I think that's because it was like really weird synergies with just the Zoerts, because I think he played Zoert and the security Zoert. But I do think Black overall is a lot weaker than a lot of the other decks currently are, as standard. Then we have Genkumon, which is when Digivolve, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest play cost. And then, your turn, or your opponent has an unsuspended Digimon. This Digimon gains security attack +1. So having Volcanomon and this one, if your opponent has an unsuspended Digimon, you're gaining free attacks. So you have your main attack, and you have security +1 from Volcano, and you have security attack +1 from Ganko. That's pretty good. As much as I did say, these aren't these kind of games where people are just punching things down for the fun of it. We do get access to having some big hits in this deck. And the Endless Regrets, and this is the Omnimon Zoert. I have seen people say they like playing the security variant, so you want to play defeats instead of Zoerts. I think Zoert's very good just because the Digivolving effect is you trash the top 3 cards of your deck. Then you may play up to 2 black and or purple Digimon cards with the cost of 8 or less from your trash without paying their memory cost. Now, I'm pretty sure all of our ultimates in this deck are 8 or less. So Metal Greymon is 8, where Rumonzu is 5, and Volcanomon is 6. So they can all be played from the field. Obviously, we are playing blockers as well, so it might be more of a case where you don't have to worry about having a damaging source on the field because you'll be okay, but maybe you need to survive another turn or 2. Having an extra defender on the field might be good. So blockers are always a good choice to have if you have nothing else to think of during that situation. And then when attacking, you may return one of your level 6 Digimon cards in this Digimon's Digivolution cards to the owner's hand to delete one of your opponent's suspended Digimon with a play cost of 12 or less. So this will get rid of a lot of the cheaper Mega level Digimon on the field, and it will pretty much get rid of everything underneath that as well. It's going to be pretty good if you're going against something like a Security Rush deck where they're starting to get a bigger and bigger board. You're scared of them hitting you with a Spy Masquerade, or your opponent's going to try and swing in with, say, like a War Greymon that has lots of security attack on it, or essentially anything that's just going to cause you a lot of issues. It could even be something simple as like, hey, you know what, I'm going to bring this level 6 back to my hand, and I'm going to swing in now with the effect, and the effect is now going to remove a blocker from their side of the field. So now I don't have to worry about being blocked, and I can take the game, or something to that effect. At last, it's time to learn. So I do think black has like a really weird option pool as well. You can obviously play things that have the DG Devolve on. I'm not a massive fan of that. I do think that falls flat on its face with quite a lot of strategies. But I do like the idea of the Parabolic Junk, which is main. All your Digimon gains on deletion gain 2 memory until the end of your opponent's next turn. So this is going to happen for one of 2 things. You put it on a blocker, so your opponent doesn't want to have to swing in and give you 2 memory, possibly turning it back to your turn. 2, you can put it on one of your Digimon that you're about to swing in with. So swings in, it doesn't die. Great, you get to use it next turn. But obviously you get to have it till the end of your opponent's turn, so if they forget that this is on there, they can then kill it. You gain 2 memory. Or if it does crash into security or crashes into an opponent's Digimon, you gain 2 memory. I think that's a pretty good trade-off. It's a free cost card. I think it's very good. Very similar to the Tropical Venom we saw yesterday. The original Izzy, which is the start of your turn. If you have 2 memory less, set your memory to 3. And on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. If all of the revealed cards are black, gain 1 memory, placing the cards on top of the deck in any order. So a lot of people think this is a weird effect. I think most people get this right now, but a lot of people originally didn't. So if you're new to the game, you don't know what this does. The effects are different. So to have the 3 black cards, you gain a memory. But you still will place those cards in any order you want on top of your deck. Just for those who some haven't come across this card yet, or for those who are just new to the game, you're just randomly going back through the time and it's like 2025 and you're wondering like, how did BT6 work? And this is how BT6 works. You also have Iron Fisted Onslaught, delete all your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost, and this is here because essentially this, I believe, is technically the first time we have a delete card in black. We don't have, I don't think we've had any other like deletion or removal cards in black currently. As far as I'm aware, I could be very wrong, but I don't think I am. And this card's actually really good against a certain deck that is Diaboromon. So Diaboromon, all the tokens are the same level as Diaboromon, so you throw this down and it just wipes out Diaboromon boards, and they get very upset by that. Izzy and Joe. Start of your turn. If your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, gain 2 memory. Good against Diaboromon. Opponent's turn. When one of your black Digimon is deleted, you may spin this Tamer to trigger draw 1. Great, I get recursion. I do think the Izzy and Joe are pretty good. This will be pretty good against things like Rookie Rush. It'll be good against things like Diaboromon when they want to spread. It'll be good against things that, for instance, let's say Yellow Lord Nightmon, where it's obviously swinging and you can drop 1 or 2 extra cards per turn. I do think these are pretty good cards that we're going to get now. I do think black is still sort of on the back foot. I don't think they're going to see much camaraderie for a little bit longer. But I do like where black is going currently. Hello, it's me, future AgitoSwiftly. So I kind of forgot a semi-important card that should have gone in this deck, and that is the Black Tie from set 2. I don't know why I forgot this, but it does become quite a crucial card during your opponent's turn. So he'll be going here, and let's go on with the outro. that is it for the current episode of Who's That Mayor Deck. Thank you for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. If you haven't, please subscribe. We do also appreciate all the likes, the comments, and you willing to come back here and learn some more from us when we can. Tomorrow's episode will be a purple deck. Yeah, it's going to be kind of like the purple Lilithmon loop deck. We're going to try and avoid that as much as we can. But I think that's going to be the issue with purple for the foreseeable future, at least until BT7, where we do get access to the hybrids. So, we'll see you there for that one. Hope you guys have a great day. Peace out, Tamers. Goodbye.